My name is Sam, and this is my wife Sarah, and we have 5 children at Hope Academy. I pastor Cross Culture Community Church, a church plant we started 13 years ago when we moved to Minneapolis.
So Sam and I got married, and within our first year we had found out that we were expecting, and we were super excited, and then lost that baby. And over the course of the next 4 years, we went on to have 3 consecutive miscarriages and really questioned if we were going to be able to have children and what God had for our family and purpose for the future. We had somebody specifically ask if they could pray for us, and they prayed and asked that God would give us a baby in 9 months. And a month later, I found out that I was pregnant, and we welcomed our baby girl, Abby, 9 months from when that prayer was prayed. And that's our oldest biological daughter. And we're also looking into adoption, but didn't know timing, and found out we were pregnant with our youngest son, Josiah. It was during the time that I was pregnant with him that a family in our church took in 3 siblings that were in foster care, and they were caring for them, and we got to know these 3 adorable children and just came alongside them to help them in any way that we could. And it was just during that season that God really transformed our hearts and broke our hearts for their situation and what they were going through, and ultimately we ended up welcoming them into our family. And those 3 children are right around the same ages as the 3 children that we lost.
The kids came into our home on a Friday night, and by that Monday morning, we were parents of elementary school kids, and we had never done that before. We realized that our kids had some learning challenges, and in trying to talk to the teachers over the course of the rest of that school year, that even one of our kids was struggling with things like reading, and at the grade level that they were at, they should be reading. And when we presented that problem to them, their response was, well, most of the other kids in the class can't read either. And they weren't really concerned about that. And that really struck us as strange, because we were willing to do whatever work was needed to help them read, but they weren't really concerned. So we started looking for a Christian school who could surround them with love and care, and to be teaching them to read, but also teaching them about following Jesus, so that they're getting this love, and they're surrounded with love at home, at church, and at school, because we were recognizing we can't do this alone. We need others to be walking with us. Another thing that we noticed from the website and from being at the school was that it was a multi-ethnic school, and we really wanted our kids, being a multi-ethnic family, to grow up in a multi-ethnic school, and even being part of a multi-ethnic church, it just seemed like a perfect fit. One of our kids was having a really hard time learning math, and they had Mrs. Gregg. She realized that they were struggling with learning the concepts, that the way they were being presented, so she revamped the entire math curriculum to help them be able to learn it.
To have a teacher take the initiative to change something because they see the needs your child is having too, it just really impacted us as a family a lot. And then the worst happened when their mom was tragically killed by domestic violence here in our city, and it was not only walking through how do we tell them that they've now lost their birth mom, even though they're in our home and they were in our family, but such a huge loss for them. And having the school support us through that, because it was local and it was in the news and it was a really big tragedy, and they were just so supportive, the staff, and many of them reaching out, and many of them reaching out to our kids and not being afraid to ask, how are you doing? Or I heard what happened, and not pretending like it didn't happen, but instead just helping our kids grieve and go through that huge loss, even in the midst of everything that was going on. I often wonder what the sponsors know about the kids that they help support, or their stories or their journeys. And as I think of our children specifically, and all of the ways that they've grown and all of the ways that they've been impacted by Hope Academy, it seems like there's so much fruit and so much that I want them to know and see. And as our daughter, who's a senior now, is looking at options for the future, she has so many options ahead of her, and she's not limited by the things that she's gone through, or the experiences, or the tragedies, or the places that she once was at. And I just wish that they would get to see those glimpses, because that's really exciting, and it just really makes us feel so grateful to be a part of Hope Academy and for their sponsors who have helped support them throughout the years. I just see how God was able to redeem the story, redeem the losses that we had gone through, redeem the losses that our kids had gone through, that He brought two families together, and now to see them flourish and have purpose and live their lives and be excited about the future and all of the things that they have. It's just a testimony of God and His goodness, even in the midst of all the hard stuff that we go through.